back to the Money Is Show. And today we got a special guest that flew all the way in from San Diego, sunny San Diego, in a bitter winter here in Utah. And he brought some sunshine with him. But look, he's an entrepreneurial expert that helps entrepreneurs thrive and survive. As you know, as an entrepreneur, there's always ups and downs. There's always new obstacles that get in front of us. And as an entrepreneur, especially starting off, it's like, dude, how do I grow this thing? How do I actually go from a dream, this idea, into actually doing it and growing through this model right here? He's an international speaker who spoke over to 1 million entrepreneurs across the world. He's the CEO and founder of the Power Team International. He's a venture capitalist as well. He wrote the book, the best-selling book called The Obvious, which you guys can get a free copy of today. On that note, I'm going to introduce Bill Walsh from one of my old hometowns of Chicago, Illinois. Bill, thanks for being on the show, man.
Man, thanks for having me. How are you today?
Great, man. We met in Las Vegas at a mutual friends event.
Yes.
We
shared a great panel.
Yeah. We actually had the same panel together. It's amazing, how those things work because, both of us have been in a speaking career for years and years and spoken all around the world. And I immediately knew who the speakers were and who the speakers weren't. Not that the other guys weren't great topics, great content, but you can immediately kind of tell very quickly who in the room is a real professional trained speaker and who is not. It's amazing how you can decipher so quick on that topic right there.
I think so much of that is being able to, when you really know your space and you treat the stage as a conversation, it's a game changer with what the audience experiences. Mm-hmm. And that was great when they asked you a question. I could tell that you weren't just speaking from your heart, you were speaking from experience. And people can tell you all kinds of things, but you don't know something till you live it. Yeah,
that's true, man. As a human, right? It's amazing. The greatest teacher is freaking life and experiences, right? Like experiences are just, and as you, the thing about it is, whether you talk about entrepreneurship or speakers for a second, right now we're talking about speakers, which I know you have a whole training for speakers, which is how we brought this up, but inside of speakers, you can immediately tell who has been down the path of being on massive stages, and they have all the battle scars of things going bad in a room, things exploding in a room.
Yeah,
I've had people
parts
die
of
in a
stages
room.
falling down.
Oh yeah, fire alarms. I've been speaking when there was a earthquake happen inside of it. But you are able to learn through all those things of those experiences that take place in it. I want to go back to Thrive and Survive. Before I do that, just while we're on the topic of speakers, I know you have a kind of a training coaching program for, I think you do 12. Is it 12 speakers at a time or
20
speakers at a time?
Yeah.
That you take and build out their entire, I think down to the flyers they use, the funnels they use, et cetera, right? Why did you get into helping other speakers out there?
As we started, we created products and services for small business owners. We launched a business course called Rainmaker, which is a 3-day intensive. Think of like a pragmatic MBA for entrepreneurs. Yeah. Super tough, makes you work on vision, mission, path, purpose, understanding grants, understanding how to run a real business, social media funnels, sales funnels, of course, public speaking. And then from that, as we grew over 5 years, I began to get so many people that would watch me speak and sell from stage said, I need to learn that. How does he convert so well from the stage? Because when you talk about something that you live and you really own, it's no longer selling. You can serve the one that's there that's serious about it. But we also looked at it from this vantage point. If I could train speakers to run their own events, if I could help them with build their media kit, build their product box, shoot their promo video, create their order forms, create their banners, create their postcards, really help them understand and build that signature 60-minute talk designed to sell their course, their product, their program, they might start to have events. Well, when they started to have events, then that would create another stage for us to go back and introduce our Rainmaker business programs to their stages. And because of that, we expanded Australia, we expanded Italy, we expanded throughout Europe, because speakers would come in, take our programs, their programs, they'd start launching from stage, and it actually created a continuum. So now all of a sudden, because you've helped them create more success, they want you to come back and then speak to their tribes or their groups. So it was really two parts of this, that I had so many people approach me that said, I've looked at all these speaker programs, I watch people pay $5 to $50 grand to go to speaker programs, yet they would never get on a stage. So I said, if you're going to pay that kind of money for a speaker program, ask them right up front, will they put you on their stage to go deliver your talk? And if they say no, then you move on. Because all the training in the world is not going to help you unless you actually go do it. That's like me giving you all these video downloads, all these audios about becoming a great skier. And then I take you up to Whistler and I put you in a helicopter and we do a helicopter drop. You're going to die.
Yeah,
does that make sense? So we decided as part of our program that we'd put them on 3 stages after they left.
Yeah.
We'll put them on a virtual stage. We'll put them on a live stage, a speak and sell, their course, their program. And then, of course, put them on a larger stage as a panel. They can then use all of that to then get more bookings. Because what a lot of promoters want to see is that, has the person ever done an event? Have they actually been on stage? And as I interview these speakers, they don't even have a website for their speaking. They tell me to do events, but they have no events on their website. And a promoter's going to look and say, what do you got going on?
Right.
You know, if they don't see reels of you speaking, information of that, they're not going to put you on the stage. So it became a culmination of a done with you program. Because if it's just do it yourself and you say, here's all the stuff about public speaking, they're not going to go rent their own hotels. They're not going to go run their own events. Do you know what I'm saying? They and we look for experts, someone that's really great at what they do first. So don't come to me and say, well, I'm okay at this, but I want to speak to sell from stage. That is not the answer. But you come to me and say, Bill, I've been doing this for 3 to 5 years. I'm great at this. Now let's take what you're great at to the one-to-one and then bring it to a one-to-many.
Yeah, I definitely think it's what makes your business unique is that, like you said, it's one thing to give downloads and videos for a skier, but the thing, and I have several buddies of mine that do training programs, but speaking training programs.
And I don't put down any of them. I think they're all, every speaker program that's out there adds a lot of value.
You can always learn from.
You can always learn
constantly from other people. But I think just what makes yours unique is when you were walking in the office is like, oh shit, I actually get this speaking engagement, I get this speaking engagement, I get this speaking, which allows me to, as a speaker, cut my teeth and start down the actual process of actually speaking. So it's like, hey, we're going to show you how to become a professional public speaker. But then also we're going to give you the opportunity to go out there and start the speaking. So that you can, and then from there, look, you're going to have to go network and market and sponsor and exit, whatever it is, to get on stages.
But by that time, the speaker, they've had other promoters that can see them speak. Right. So a lot of times we have the events, we'll have multi-speakers come in. Well, now other speakers see that person speak and say, hey, could you deliver that on my stage? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That they never would have had the opportunity before. Yeah. And so it was really a call to action that said, number one, let's help them become better at their converting from stage. And I don't care if it's a digital product, maybe you're just selling an appointment, maybe you're selling a program, maybe you're selling a mastermind. Doesn't really matter. You want to make sure if you're on the stage for 5 minutes or an hour and 5 minutes, that you know how to have a good conversation with the room. And of course, people are, if you can help them solve their problems, they're probably going to want more information from you. Yeah. And that's, you know, that's 12 years later.
I want to talk to you. I'm going to get a little bit tactical here with you, which I think is one of your favorite things to do. Sure. Is tactical. And I'm going to stay on speaker since we're here, and I'm going to go with the flow. Let's give a couple of tactical points from your 20 years of public speaking and training. What are if we break speaking it down into right now, you would say that, hey, here's the main. I'm gonna give you 3 points, 3 things that you say, hey, this is probably one of the top 3 things you should know, learn, do as a platform speaker.
So, and I think it's good to go 2 different directions with that. There are speakers that just get paid to speak.
Keynotes.
So very different than someone who's going to speak to sell.
I wish I did keynotes for a long time.
It's a different model, right?
Yeah,
but
totally
I still think that the number one thing before you take the stage is know your information.
God, that's good, dude.
So I don't care if you got no PowerPoints, you got no screens, no videos, no flip chart. You can get in front of that room and you can deliver your content. Yeah. Because you've lived it, you know it. And I tell you this, that if you're a speaker and you're new, less than 5 years in your industry, talk about the position as an innovator. More than 5 years, an expert. You've literally lived in that space. But I will tell you the second thing is that, and when you start to really think about public speaking, and this is another thing that people get away from, is that create rapport with the audience. If you're a speaker and you just walk on the stage, number one thing you do, and just learn this and write this down, is called gratitude power. Yeah. So the minute you walk on the stage, let's thank the promoter. Let's thank the guy that brought me on the stage. Let's thank the whole team that's in the room. Have everyone stand up and just give the team a big round of applause. Because the minute you do that, it builds instant rapport with the audience, and it shows that you're a person that's thankful. And the audience wants to connect with someone that's thankful a lot faster than someone that's boastful.
Yeah.
So big things when you're going to take that stage is make sure, number one, you know your information. Number two, that first 30 seconds on the stage is that you're literally being and coming from a place of gratitude. And you're going to watch, if you'll do that, the audience will tune into you like a whole different direction.
Yeah.
And if I would say there was number three, and this is probably a mistake that some speakers make, and sometimes they get caught off on things, is that as you're beginning to go through your presentation, give them tactical advice they can use right now. Not theory, not, oh, you'll feel better in 3 weeks if you watch this one thing. No, give them stuff they can use right now. So if I'm talking to entrepreneurs, I will tell them, number one, you better have an influencer page. There's a free app out there called Mingle, MINGL.no. You can put your pictures up, all of your social media links, your PDF documents. You can put your calendar system like YouCanBook.me is free. So literally for no money at all, you can have an instant influencer page that everyone can use to find you, all your data, all your information. You can send out free text messaging worldwide if they have the app. So that's just one little simple idea of this, but in your niche, if it's health, give them a practical application tool, because if they can put something into use within 48 to 72 hours from your talk, they'll remember you forever.
Yeah.
If it's all fear, you make them feel good for a few minutes, within 30 days, they might remember some of your name and maybe things you've talked about. But if anything that you give them is practical application where they can use it right away, what a difference that makes. So when I work with speakers, I'm going to make sure that your time on that stage delivers real life application that someone can put into use within 48 to 72 hours, that they know if they never bought your program, your product, your service, they're like, damn, Andrew, he gave me such great value in that little bit of time. And they'll rave about that online, and you'll get more speaker bookings.
Yeah.
You know, so these are things, give them, once again, going to take the stage, own your information, gratitude power rocks, and give them real applicable knowledge they can use within 48 to 72 hours that they can see results from.
Yeah, I love all those. I love all those. When me and you were speaking, we were on the panel, and you were kind of right in the middle. I think there's one guy in between me and you.
Yeah.
And then there's one guy on my other side. And so as they were going down the path, you hit the gratitude in front of me, and I was like, "That sorry son of," because I can't now do it because you just did it.
Same as him.
You did all of it. I'm like, oh God, I got to think of something else now because you did because I love the gratitude angle. It's such well, number one, it's so authentic and real. Like, dude, like man, all the staff that put this on and all the servers and so the people are coming here serving food and so forth. Like, it's a great way to start off any presentation.
Yep.
It also creates action, which is another positive of it. Is going into the psychology of speaking on stage, whether it be a keynote or not. Is when I'm on stage and I'm giving gratitude, and then I say, hey, let's all clap for him.
Change the state.
What it does, it changes, right?
Yeah.
It creates emotion. It creates energy.
That's right. It
creates even getting it. You want to go deeper. It creates leadership and authority. And from the standpoint of, hey, I'm on stage and I said, let's clap, and then everybody claps.
They claps.
And it creates an environment that, honestly, as a speaker, you're looking kind of for. There's so many things that go into little bitty things that you do on stage. But I love the way you talk about content, because so many people have no freaking idea what they're great at, what their content is. And I got started in speaking. You'll find this funny because being a speaker, I got started in speaking because a buddy of mine called me, and I was a real estate investor. At that point, I probably flipped, 500 houses.
Wow.
And a buddy of mine called me and said, hey man, we have he said, what are you doing this weekend? It was Wednesday night-ish, like Wednesday evening, right? And he said, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, nothing. Do you want to go hang out? And he's like, well, he's like, tomorrow, which is Thursday, he's like, I need you to drive. I was in Georgia. He said, I need you to drive to Birmingham. I have about 150 people in a room for a 3-day real estate workshop, and I have no speakers. We are overbooked. I've called everybody that I know. I've called every friend that I have, and I don't have anybody who can speak.
And we need you.
And he's like, I need you to go speak. And I said, well, I don't have any slides. I don't have, what are you talking about? I don't have anything. And he's like, no, dude, just trust me. You know how to do real estate. you've done 500 houses. I just need you to go teach how to do real estate.
That's right.
And I was like, well, that I could do if that's all you want me to go do. And I went out and did my first 3-day event. No slides, no PowerPoint, no keynote. But what I did know was I knew my freaking content.
You knew your content.
I knew my content.
Yeah.
And I came on that stage, and there's a difference because you've done with professional speakers who don't know their content, but they're a professional speaker.
Yeah.
And one of the differences is, for me, and I've seen you do this. I can take live Q&A anytime you want to talk about my topic. Bring it. I enjoy it. So I'll teach, and then throughout the session, when it's a long session, I will take live Q&A nonstop.
Right.
Because what it establishes is whatever
that
your
you
questions
know that
are,
space.
I know the answer.
And that's
to
what
it.
I do. So when I say I'll take questions, I say I'm not a life coach.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you feel good. I'm not a motivational coach. I'm not a fitness coach for sure. I'm not a relationship coach, but I'm a damn good business coach.
Yeah.
I've been ranked in the top 36 years in a row by Guru Magazine for helping small business all over the world.
Yeah.
So this I know. I've trained speakers for 15, 20 years, right? I've put together groups on deal flow and putting things together. This stuff I know. So if your questions are in business growth, public speaking, masterminds, I can help with that. These other things,
ask someone else.
Yeah, I'll have to push a video or bring up an expert or something because that's not my realm, and I don't ever try to go into that realm.
Smart, I love it, man.
It's much easier to stay in your lane.
I would love to say I'm speaking the entire time because I just enjoy geeking out about it. There's a lot of psychology that goes into speaking that I sincerely enjoy breaking it down inside of it. But I got to. I'm sorry. Let me ask you one more on speaking.
It's okay, and I'll go into your authentic thing too, just before you go to the question. But it's so critical. Just be authentic.
Yeah.
If you can't help somebody, say no.
Yeah.
This is not a good fit for you.
Yeah.
Our platinum course, we turn down 80% of the applicants because what they're going to talk about is not going to sell from stage.
Yeah, it's not going to.
We have a basic one-day speaker program. It's under $1,000. We meet 4 times a year. That's great just to be a better speaker, to get paid to speak, how to build a list, how to launch a digital product. But the big thing is that just be authentic from the stage.
Right.
I began to wear Jordans and jeans and nice suit coats and T-shirts that were a part of our brand. I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I knew for a fact that when it comes to this, I know my space. And if you're authentic about it and you give real value during that talk, the ones you're speaking to are the ones that are there that day to resonate with your message. And a lot of people may not like it. He's arrogant. He's this. No. I'm just a tough business coach. I'm a bottom line person that says I can see the best in people and I can help bring that out. But if they're not open for the message that day, that you actually have to make phone calls. You actually have to get great leads. You actually have to follow up and follow through. And that's the process. You might not want to hear that, but that's what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And so it's important, just stay in your lane and be authentic. And when you do that, once again, some people might not like you, and I'm okay with that. But the ones that do, that follow through, they don't only have results, they have great results.
Yeah.
And so go ahead, back to your question.
It's 100% true. The authentic side of, I've been on stage before where I was doing Q&A and someone asked me a question that it's like, dude, that's not my realm. Right. But I said, hold on a second. And I literally on stage picked up a phone to a person that I knew was an expert at that topic.
Yeah.
I said, hold on, let me help you. Like, I'm here to help you. Hold on a second. But it ain't
phone
me.
a friend. We phone a friend.
Yeah. Who wants to be a millionaire? And
right.
I need to call a friend because it's not me. But instead of me just sitting there saying, and I probably could have quickly came up with a kind of a BS answer. And it's like, dude, like, I don't know, but hold on, I'll help you find it out real quick.
And that audience has way more respect for you then.
Oh, 100%.
When you say you don't know things, people are like, hey, listen, they're being brutally honest about this stuff, right? But I like it more.
I'll help you figure it out, right?
Right.
But let me ask you this. I want one more technical piece from you because I think this is important for public speakers, is stage presence. Understanding stage presence and awareness on stage.
Right.
Give us a couple pointers, tips on stage presence if you're getting going.
So here's a great tip. Number one, have a well-written introduction. Bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, as if you walk on water. What are the greatest things in your life? Not that the record player goes backwards and the dog left and the house burned down, right? Then I want to kind of move away from that person because there might be a certain karma vibe that's not there. But the introduction should be well written about the things that you've done, the things you're working on, where you're going, what you're excited about. Now, the icebreaker is critical. When you walk on that stage and you put them into an action of some sort, thank the group, thank the room, you might think it's for the icebreaker. It's critically important that you tell them what you're going to tell them, tell them what you told them, and tell them again, of course, throughout the talk. but it's also important that during that 30 seconds of an exercise, you swoop the room. In other words, is there people talking over there? Are the lights right? Are the mics right? Is the air right? That one little minute of making sure the room is right when you take the stage will make a huge difference in every talk that you give. If people are horsing around in the back, you know, if the air conditioning is too hot or too cold, you can go on the stage to your team in the back and it's like, you know, the air temperature is good, you know, or you're going to say make it warm or something like that. But get that done right away. Because if you let it fester throughout the talk and don't ever create the interruption, if the projectors go out, use the flip chart. If the flip chart falls over, sit and talk with the group. You know, I have found that many times if you're going to give a lecture that combines great content, maybe use a bar stool, have a cup of tea on the stage. I know these sound like crazy things, but it gives you a break to have the tea, and it makes it, once again, that they know you know your stuff. And that's really what the audience is looking for, is that can you have a great conversation, but can you also highlight the room? Many speakers never learn to highlight the room. Now, whether you're a Drake fan or not, doesn't really matter. I was one of the top guys in the music business today. But if you ever go to his concert, he'll literally work the entire auditorium. Let's look at section 300 up there and put the lights up there and someone's wearing a Drake shirt. Now that person feels like they're the most important person in the auditorium. You have to realize if you're speaking to 10 or 20,000, it's the same energy. Yeah. They get the same energy from you. And people respect that.
Yeah, I love the all those things that you mentioned, dude. I did. I swear to you, I did. I literally had my team bring in teapots and a teapot warmer. Yeah, and I would literally on stage. Right. I mean, this was a longer event, right? Of course, yeah. Not a 20-minute presentation. Right. And I would literally fix myself tea on stage and pour my cup and put the honey into it but what it created was this thing of in the crowd, they knew that I was extremely comfortable
and very relaxed.
I was very in control of what's going on 100%. In myself, in the room, where most people couldn't do certain things. It's like, oh, I'm just making a cup of tea, and I actually wanted it for my throat.
Right, exactly, all day long.
But it was amazing how those little things, and I'm telling you, like, I know you speak because you would only know that shit if you actually spoke. The stool, I think, is a great one. I love using a stool. Yes. It doesn't mean I stand the whole time.
No, not at all.
But it's amazing what it does to the room when a speaker is standing up in front and then steps away and goes on a stool and then stands up and then goes back to a stool. I love watching this is psychology of the people when I do different things. And it takes a lot of stage time, which is how you would know this stuff, to be able to know what clicks, hits,
and what doesn't click. Another great thing, guys, and once again, I don't care if you're speaking to 1 or 1,000, even if you're on your Zooms today, make sure your face is lit up. Make sure you're not standing in the dark part of the stage. If you have to go buy some or rent some spotlights that light up you on the stage, believe me when I tell you it's important they can actually see your eyes, they can see your facial expressions. It's so critical.
Body movement.
So don't get lost somewhere on the stage. Don't walk in the audience. If you got more than 400 people or 500 people and you're in an elevated room and it goes deep in the room, the minute you walk down, the camera loses you because there's no more lights. I watched a guy do it in we spoke to 10,000 plus people in London on one big stage, and the guy walked down in the audience. The back third of the audience pretty much checked out of the whole talk.
Just like that. Poof.
Just like that, within seconds.
But, for a long, long time, that was one of the big things is like, go connect with the crowd, go get into the crowd. But and there is a truth to it, but it's only for a certain amount of people in the room.
Or if you have the right cameras. If you got cameras tracking you as you walk down, they're seeing you live on that thing. So you'll see at the concerts when they go, and I love that idea if you have that kind of lighting and cameras and setup, but most events don't have that. They don't got booms that are tracking you around the room. So these are just little things that
But they're very, very tactical, and they're very, very true coming from some on stage. Let's move to thrive and survive.
Good.
Obviously, I'm an entrepreneur through and through. I always say that entrepreneurship didn't choose me. Or I didn't choose entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship chose me, man. I was born an entrepreneur and will die an entrepreneur, and I love everything about it. And but inside of business, there's good, there's bad. There's markets up, markets down. There's a lot of opportunity sometimes, and then a little bit of opportunity sometimes. But you created this event that you do, training for entrepreneurs, business owners called Rainmaker.
Correct.
And inside of Rainmaker, it's really about this idea of understanding in business how to thrive and survive.
That's right.
Let's break those two words down: thrive and survive. What
So the first is survive.
Okay.
Because we know that 9 out of 10 don't make it.
Yeah.
Right. So when we think about this, right, as an entrepreneur that did turnarounds for nearly a decade fixing companies, we would go in and figure, close the business, sell the assets, turn it around and fix it and drive the sales, or take it public. It's usually one of those three things, right? And so when we launched Rainmaker back in 2005, I can't believe it's, that many years ago, almost 2 decades ago now, but it was really around, number one, if you're going to run a business, number one, own your space. Don't do 15 things. And I don't ever say just quit your job and start your business. You can build a part-time hustle, because we're in a gig economy today, that once it replaces your current income, it gives you choices. But it starts with understanding that be the one that owns that niche.
Yeah.
Pick the niche, get to the top 20 in the niche. But to do that, you've got to be better.
Yeah.
So it starts with have a clear vision. Where's the business going? Clear mission. How many clients do you plan to serve every quarter over the next 5 years? Have a clear plan, which means build a real business plan. So we start with success track, success plan, full-blown business plan. We actually give them the SBA business model plan because you need to learn how to use grants today. Everybody here should apply for grants. There's zip code grants in your local area. There's regional, national, state grants. To not take advantage of this stuff, you are not giving the business the respect it deserves. So once you get that part down, then make sure that you've got those things in motion. Now do you have the right systems? Do you have the right tools, the right teams? So we talk about teams, outsourcing, mastermind groups, board of advisors, internal core team, marketing partners. How many influencers actually market your products? If I went to YouTube, I typed in your name and your company, and I looked for influencers that get behind your product or service, how many of those do you have? Because either you spend money on some marketing or you invest in great relationships. I chose invest in relationships. You need sales funnels, marketing funnels, loyalty programs, referral programs. These are all non-negotiable to win. So in a 3-day course, we meet 4 times a year. We drive them through all this stuff. We teach them all about KPIs. We teach them public speaking to be a better speaker in front of, today it's, are you on Zoom? Are you on Facebook Live? Are you using Twitch for your TV show? What are you using that gets your message out to the masses? We make them all sit on charitable boards. Everyone that comes to our course, you don't have to donate any money to the board, but you've got to find a charity in your backyard that you'll be a part of the advisory board with. Because I think that every entrepreneur needs to understand that social impact's the currency of the future. Are they really giving back? Not just did you make a buck, did you make a difference? Not only that, there's a guy that runs a group called High Point University, Nito Cobain, that talks about the fast way to the top is through charitable contribution. And I believe it's your time, but we really make them understand the power of execution. How do you begin to build perfect days? And we really drive this home. We meet with them 4 times a year, 3 days at a time, to make sure, are they doing these things and staying with it? Because if you don't work on these things on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, monthly basis, we find that Walmart, Starbucks, they'll do KPIs on all of their stores every 30 minutes. They know sales worldwide. Entrepreneurs know once a year.
Right.
So we actually give them the exact formula to run weekly KPIs on every employee you have. I don't care if they're the person that helps at the front desk, if they're the person that's in sales, everyone has a unique KPI that has to be turned in each week. Because what gets measured gets done. And that's what we found. So Rainmaker is like a pragmatic MBA, but when you start to think about these things, right, it goes back to leadership and communications, systems and process, and accountability and execution. And if you can start to really think that way, I watched this guy in a video, and I go to classes every month. I'm always a student first. And he said, when you think about success the way you think about breathing, you'll find all the success you're looking for. But I think it goes up a notch. Think about building a legacy and settle for success. Start with it. If someone challenged you and said, Andrew, what's your legacy going to be? 100 years from today, did you get your biography published? We teach everyone to become an author. Tell your story. Write this down today if you're listening. Your story's too big to play small. Because there's so many negative people out there. We teach them, turn off the TV. 3 months of no notifications on your phone. You watch how much more productive you are in a day. You'll set a time. At 10:30, I'll check text. At 11:30, I'll check emails. 3:30 text, 4:30 emails. Because if you start responding all the time instantly, that's what people come to expect. If you let people know that twice a day I'll check this stuff, our team will get back to you, or call my executive admin where you can outsource this stuff, begin to outsource the things that you're not great at. And start with that today. Yeah. And then the thing that we teach every business is stop lowering your price. We live in a world today that Walmart, Amazon compete on price. Small business competes on value. How do you keep value stacking? Just keep adding more for the client, more for the client. We kept stacking more value into our Rainmaker program. And even though the toughest economy, our sales went up. Yeah. Do you know, so it's not just about, and I know the number one word for the last couple of years has been pivot. I'll tell you the number one word that I think is innovate. You know, I liked, if you look at a store, a restaurant in Vegas, and we love real case studies, right? Capriotti's. You know, that's a great sandwich place, shop, but when everything stopped, people weren't coming into the store. They put drive-through booths outside. They moved all their money to social media, to the different Grubhubs and Uber Eats, where they became the number 1 to 5 choice for a sandwich. And because of that, their business went through the roof. So when everybody else tells you that you can't do things, begin to go back to number 1, why'd you start the business in the first place? You know, what was your day one? Having a bad day. And I'm going to tell you guys, I've had plenty of failures, plenty of success, but you know that being broke sucks. But that's when your real friends show up. It's not during the good times. And we teach business owners, take your time to invest in great relationships, learn to open those doors, but learn to add value first. How can I help that person with a connection, with customers, with things that they're most excited about? And then all of a sudden you'll watch these doors start to open up, and deliver it in a timely fashion. If you say you'll do something for somebody, do it. You don't got to do more than that. Just whatever you offer the help, do it, because they'll remember that. And they'll tell somebody else and tell someone else. And once you start to live, you know, as what I really do believe, a Rainmaker is nothing more than an entrepreneur that's on path and purpose with a clear vision, and they execute their plan. So that's kind of where it all came from. And, you know, now I still love to teach the class. And like you can teach, I could teach a whole 3-day or 5-day program without notes. Yeah. Because I just live it every day.
Yeah. It's amazing. It made me think about, you talked about texting at a certain time, and you don't have to respond to everybody's text messages nonstop. I don't have my phone on me. If I did, I'd pull it out. But I would dare say right now, in my text messages, I probably have upwards of 50 to 75 texts right now. Right. That are sitting there, and it stresses my executive admin out. Yeah. And I give 2 craps about it.
Well, but you can put that in your message. Once again, you can set up autoresponders for that. If it's something that's important, call my team. Yep. They're here to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, what I was saying was, like, my problem that I made as a beginning entrepreneur is I was basically enslaved to everybody around me. Right. And it was like I was always jumping through this hoop and trying to solve this and put this and do this and constantly I wanted my email inbox had to be at 0 at the end of every single day, and my every text message had to be responded to, and I understand the value of communication. That's not what I'm saying. Right. Communication is extremely important, but me not having to be controlled by
the
technology or by other people. Understand, the whole reason I got into entrepreneurship was to be able to work for myself and have freedom. Yep. And then what happened for years of my entrepreneurship is I worked for everybody else. I had more bosses than anybody else freaking had, because I was always trying to be Johnny in the spot with everybody. And we were talking about this earlier. Me and you were talking about how many shows I was doing, and I said, I'm good. I rearranged my schedule to what I want my schedule to be, not what everybody else wants my schedule to be.
100%. So let's flip the script for a second. So what are you most excited about now?
In business or in
business and life, both. I think they kind of go tandem.
There's so many things that put a smile and passion inside of me. Yeah. Number one, I love opportunity, and that word innovation. I love another word called disrupt. Right. I love disrupting markets. Yep. So if I went down the road a little bit, I'm hypered learning in metaverse, NFTs, crypto. Like, if you don't understand as an entrepreneur, this is the way. This is where it's going. It is down a one-way path right now. Right. And the sooner you can get in, understand it, and participate in it, the better off you're going to be. So, I mean, that's one thing that I freaking love. Me and you were talking about NFT project that you got coming out soon. And they intrigue me because, again, I want to be a constant learner, right? So that's like down the road. When I say down the road, I mean I'm just constantly looking. I keep my head up and look around as to what's going on. And the world that we live in as an entrepreneur moves so fast right now.
Right.
Very, very high paced world that we live inside of as an entrepreneur. That's one thing that excites me. The other stuff is the ability for me to scale into the next level. Meaning, I've always had businesses. I've been able to sell businesses, grow businesses, make millions of dollars, and so forth. And the projects that I'm currently working on now have the potentials to have 100 million. I got one that I think is 100 million. I got one that's 500 million. I got one that's $1 billion. And hey, look, if they hit or don't hit, dude, this is part of the game.
That's right.
But I have moved into a new entrepreneurship that I still have other ones that I say are almost like more consistent, stable. I know I'm going to make $2 million off of it. I know I'm going to make $3 million off of this business I own over here. But then I moved in this world now where, because those are like so running sufficiently, I was like, dude, I'm gonna go play in some big games. Exactly. And I'm gonna see what happens. And win, lose, or draw, dude, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna love life and love everything about it. And I'm happy and pumped to go do it. Those are some of the things that excite me right now in business, I should say, that's out there. That I personally, where I'm at in life, put a smile on my face when I think about it.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Let's talk about. I want to go back to entrepreneur for a second, and I want to talk about. Let's go into some tactical things that entrepreneurs need to know. And I want to break this because I think context is important in answering questions, right?
For sure.
Sometimes as a speaker, you get asked a question. It's like, okay, well, I have to give you the context of what you're asking me because there's like 90 different answers to this. So I want to make sure I give some context. So let's start with an entrepreneur. Let's call him right now a wantrepreneur. Yeah. Someone who's wanting to start their business. Yeah. They're wanting to get going. They still have a job. They still have they're working for someone, but they have this itch, this bug that they won't leave them alone. Yeah. Let's give two points to an entrepreneur of some tactical things that they should look at doing to help them go from wantrepreneur to actually, I started the business. What are maybe two
I'll probably give them a few more points out, but I'll do them fast. So, if you're in that space today, number one, be frugal.
Frugal. Okay.
I'm telling you right now that don't try to spend everything on everything. Figure out exactly what you need. But I will tell you this, to get positioned as an expert in a space, get an influencer page set up, go to Canva, get a book cover done. Mm-hmm. Book cover's tomorrow's best business card. It's free. It costs nothing. Get yourself listed as a business page, as an author on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Get a business group set up on Facebook. This is all free. Get your own podcast set up on Anchor. That's free. Go to GoDaddy, pay the $8, points to your podcast. Interview 2 experts a month just to build the community with content. No sales. Content. So once you've done that, go to Google, type in Haro, get yourself listed as a subject matter expert. Mm-hmm. It'll get your interviews. It'll get you in media. Once again, no charge for that. There's an app called Pingler. It's $3 a month. They can use to drive so their SEO goes up for their subject matter niche, which costs them, once again, next to nothing. Use good printed materials. 85% of the population are still visuals. There's a company called Upwork, can make you a great business card, 4-color, 2-sided. Make sure the back of the business card is a gift card. Give them some intellectual property. Go to free conference call, record a 5-minute audio. Make that your giveaway as long as they opt in. So don't try to sell from the card. Don't put all your social media links on the card. Have them go to one influencer page where it has it all. And then, of course, once they opt in, now you know you've got someone you really want to talk to. And the big goal of this is build a community. But if you use these things, Next Day Flyers prints 5,000 6x9 cards for $100. Those are salesmen. You're not a designer, use Upwork, they'll make it for you. These are little things, but they're all big things. Learn to realize that it's all about exposure. So now you've got a few marketing things in place. Make sure that using apps, one is, and these don't cost much, InShot. It's like $15 a year. You record they're only 1-minute videos. In the 1-minute video, put an opt-in or a QR code, push one button, it goes to all your social media channels. Now what you're doing is you're putting out really good content with a free gift. Not buy my stuff. The mistake that's always is buy my stuff, go to my website. No, let me give you some good content. Let me actually give you some more education. Then if you'd like to become a customer, we'd love to have you as a customer. It's a whole different mindset as that wantrepreneur. But you also, going from the wantrepreneur to the business owner to the entrepreneur, you've got to schedule the time. You got to say, listen, I'm going to do my business for these 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. And don't forget one of the most important things. For me, it's family, faith, and fun. Get the priorities done first. literally it's so simple, go to Outlook or Google, print out a whole year calendar. Put all your family stuff in first. Put all your faith-driven stuff in. Put all your times concerts you want to go to. Build all that in your yearly calendar. We do them in October each year. We release our events a whole year in advance because I want to make sure that I'm not missing Coachella or Lala. You know, my son Austin, my daughter Marissa, Evan, we find ways that skip all the gifts at the holidays, schedule things with your kids. You know, I was with a good friend of mine last night, and he said, we do what's called the Fun Fund. So we give our kids X dollars they can use all year just for fun. And they can go on a trip or go somewhere, but it's the same thing here. And then it's also important, if you're thinking about exposure, learn to speak to millionaires. There's a website called Vistage. It's only millionaires in cities all over the world. I like BNIs, Rotaries, Latibs, Chambers. Get yourself in front of those groups once a week, because I don't care how good your business is, you got to have leads. And all of the stuff I'm talking about, you could probably do all this for less than a few $100s. Mm-hmm. So save that money on, I'm going to have to build all this and build all that. No, save the money, and then really understand that CRMs and drivers, task management software, bunch of those are out there for next to nothing, that once again, you can begin to build out those daily plans. Mm-hmm. So now each week, you know, it's a really simple question. Every Monday, ask yourself, am I on track or off track? On track or off track? And even when you go speak at these events, you don't got to speak for very long, 5-10 minutes, but put yourself in the realm where people that are doing epic things, you want to be around that group. Mm-hmm. And it's not about, you know, but all that costs money. Fine, then get grants, treat it like a business. Mm-hmm. And that's the big thing that I would leave on this section, is that give your business the respect it deserves with your time, with some of your money, investing in the relationships, and never stop investing in your education. Mm-hmm. I literally search out events and programs that I can go to once a month. I used to go to the Apple store once a month. I would go sit in an Apple class because, you know, they would teach you one thing about that phone that I never even knew it did. But every month I forced myself to go, but I got better at these things. Mm-hmm. You know, and then of course, when you go to these events, put your notes live. Share the notes you're learning at events with your tribes, so they can see you're learning, they see you're there, they'll emulate what you do. Mm-hmm. And instead of saving it all and try to do it months later, I would actually, if I got good notes, I would text them, I'd put them right in the social media and then just share it. So, and of course, be the same person on stage as off stage. Mm-hmm. You know, so if I would tell entrepreneurs that, be respectful of other people. Everyone has a sign on their forehead that says, I am important. I don't care who they are. I used to hire people at a country club, and I would tell them, I'll meet you on the first tee at 7:20. And they would go to the country club, and they would have someone park their car, check their bags, do their shoes, get them a soft drink, bring them out to the cart, and I would have them send me a message. Is this guy a go, yes or no? Or this gal a go, yes or no? You'd be like, no, jerk. Treated the person like they were nothing. I learn a lot when I watch people, how they treat people that can do nothing for them. Mm-hmm. And you will learn a lot about someone. They'd get to the first day and be like, your interview's already done. Mm-hmm. There's nothing we have to talk about. Mm-hmm. Because however you just treated that person, you're going to treat a member of our team or one of our customers. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to have that. So these are things as an entrepreneur, is that, you know, be a great student. Read books like Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil. There's so many great books out there that keep being a student. YouTube. I tell every business owner, entrepreneur, go to YouTube and type in the guy's name, Jim Rohn. ROHN, study the Jim Rohn stuff, right? He was Tony Robbins, one of his first employers, but he has hours and hours and hours of things that success over time, the rules don't change. Mm-hmm. And if you can learn from those and keep that fed in your mind, and of course, I tell everyone, pick up your phone today, erase all the negative people. Yeah. Change your voicemail. You know, I'm making some major changes in my life. If I don't call you back, you might be one of them. You know, because if they can release that, they make room for the right people.
What we haven't mentioned this yet, but if they want to learn more about Rainmaker or your speaking program, where's the best place for them to go?
It's really easy. If you want a copy of my book, The Obvious, you just text the word WIN. It's real simple. Text the word WIN to 26786. Text the word WIN to 26786. Of course, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, but that's the easiest way to get the book and all the details on the programs.
Is text the word WIN in the message itself.
Yep.
And then give the number one time.
The number is 26786.
26786.
That's it.
Text that and then get a copy of the book that you have going on. you dropped a lot of different points there, and as I was listening to all the different tactics, hey, do this, do this, do this. Again, we're talking in context to a entrepreneur at the time.
Yeah.
One word that just kept coming to my head that I feel like you were sharing is the word exposure.
Yeah.
You have to, as an entrepreneur, go create exposure. And a lot of the things that you just gave there was exposure, free.
Yeah,
exposure,
free. Next
free
to nothing.
exposure, free exposure, and getting out there, because until people know what you do, you're not going to go get business. They have to understand what you're doing. And it's funny because teaching class all the time, I'd always ask someone, hey, if I went to your Facebook right now with all your 300 closest friends on it, and I asked them, hey, what does so-and-so do? What would the answers come back as?
Yeah.
And it's like, people realize like, oh, actually no one even knows that I'm in real estate. I was like, if no one knows if your own friends don't even know you're in real estate, and they're ones who chose to follow you and you follow them and they don't even know what you do, how is the person you don't know supposed to know what you do when your friends don't even know? So I think one of the key words that you were mentioning there, if I put it in a big bow, would be the word exposure. You've got to go create exposure. And again, I'm not saying go take out a billboard.
Not at all.
You never
maybe later, but not when you're starting out.
Yeah, you never mentioned as a one
save the money.
Take a billboard.
Yeah.
You gave them, I don't know, a dozen or so free ways for them to go create exposure. The other thing is that I want to maybe last question here I want to hit you before the money is when as I was listening to you help entrepreneurs, I was thinking the word exposure and I was thinking of the word network. Yeah. And I think people don't understand when I say the word network. I wish I could find another word, and maybe you have another word that's better. Yeah. I don't mean I just go into a random place and start networking and talking to people. Me and you met at an event, and at that event, my purpose of coming to that event to speak at it was to find legitimate contacts that I could explore opportunity with at that event, but more down the road. From that event, I wanted to connect with people and look for opportunities, and that's the whole reason I went to the event was I'm looking for. So people call it networking, but I'm not just randomly talking to somebody. I'm going in there with purpose. Yeah. I have a path that I'm going down. I'm looking for I'm showing up with a purpose what I'm trying to accomplish at it. Talk a little bit about exposure. Talk about the power of true networking, not random networking.
I think when you take it up a notch, right, the networking will open the door, but it's really relationship building. And what most people fail on is they don't follow up and they don't follow through. So we met, right, and then I followed up again and again, and then then we created a great connection. Do you know what I'm saying? But what most people won't do, and I can give out my number and say, shoot me a text, because they're looking for funding or connections, you'd be surprised how many forget to follow up. So you have to understand that meeting somebody, I believe so often they're called divine appointments. You showed up at the right place with the right people, right? Put yourself in the right place where the right people are at, magic will happen. But you've got to be willing to say hello. You've got to learn the conversation. How can I add value first? Not what can I get? I made the mistake when I was much younger is that here's what I got and here's what I want. I changed all that when I was probably in my mid-30s, and I said, here's who I am, here's how I can serve. And when I changed that, every door you could think of opened up like crazy, because if it didn't create the connection, maybe it wasn't the right person or the right time, and that's okay, right? But I knew for a fact that if you'll think about the network is where you open the door, where the real magic is investing in the relationship. So become really great at becoming a relationship builder. Learn to add value as fast as you can. And before you know it, you don't just follow up once. You'll follow up for years. Sometimes with the right people, it might take quite a while, but you stay on the radar. You'll make a list of your Fab 10 for the year. Who are 10 people I'd love to do business with next year? That I could really help them with their business, and whatever happens from that, it's supposed to happen. You're not going in saying, wow, this person can help me. No. What can you bring to the table? And then if you'll do enough of that, I'm telling you, when you help people that are already wildly successful, they pay attention, and they'll tell someone else, that tells someone else, and tells someone else. So the network is one thing. Showing up is critical for your business, but it's also the follow-up and the follow-through. And this is what I have found. If I look at the greatest relationships I have today, it's many times because I followed up, but I also followed through. And I kept a list of who's on the Fab 10, who's on the Fab 50, the Fab 100, right? And I would make sure that if they had events going on, I'd sponsor them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd call out of the blue and say, you got an event going on? Can we help send some people there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see you got this charity going on. Can we sponsor some tables?
Mm-hmm.
See, when you begin to sponsor charitable events and you get around the right people, sponsor masterminds.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy lunch for everybody. We would go to a mastermind. There's 100 people there. I'd say, do you need someone to sponsor lunch? I'm glad to spend 5 or 10 grand to buy lunch, and I'll speak for 5 or 10 minutes. I don't care. Wasn't going there to sell anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just once again, I'd have the right package of information though. I'd have gift bags to pass out. I'd have swag to pass out, right? Because now people feel once again that you really respect their time.
Yeah.
And when they feel you respect their time, they'll give you more of their time. So I would just say, here's what we do. If you guys are looking for help with any of these areas, can we help? Love to have a conversation before the event's over. But the fact that you paid it forward first,
mm-hmm.
right? That will open up more doors. But it's your job, because I'm telling you what most people fail on is not the meet and greet. They got the meet and greet down. They'll go and they'll shake the hands and meet the person, but they don't follow up and follow through effectively.
Mm-hmm. I love you talking about relationships, networking and relationships. I got one question here for you that I want you to give some advice on.
Sure.
You know, when there's this buzzword of like everybody's like, oh, add value, show up and add value, and you were talking about the concept of it, but this word of adding value, create value for someone, and I use it as a buzzword because I just think sometimes on social media,
because so many times it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's just like,
hate to call it the way it is, right?
No idea what you're freaking talking about,
right?
You know, but it's a buzzword, so everybody uses it, right? And I get asked this question a lot, like, hey, Drew, how do you create value for someone that you just meet? How do you create value for them? Give them a couple ideas of
I'll give you an example. We can role play this and have some fun, right? If I'm going to meet someone that I know for a fact is someone I'd like to do some business with or get to know better, mm-hmm. or build a relationship with, I'm going to always ask them this question: what projects are you currently working on that you're most excited about? Mm-hmm. So it's called the 90-10 rule. Mm-hmm. For the guys who want more dates, learn to shut up. Mm-hmm. Ask someone that's playing at a high level, what are they working on? What are they, because they'll start to what?
Talk.
They'll talk.
Yeah.
Now it's my job to listen, learn, and process. Can I really help that person? Mm-hmm. Is there something I can do tangible, whether it's a connection or something I do myself? Now, let's say they say that what you have is not something I can help them with. I might say, well, I've already done the research. Whenever you have an next charity event, I'll be the first one to buy a table. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to invest a table, mm-hmm. you know, and I'll bring some people there, right? Now you might say, well, you can do that, Bill, because you have some money. Well, now let's say you're the entrepreneur, you have no money. I know you got a charity event coming up. I'd love to serve. Mm-hmm. I'll be the first one there to greet people at the door, but don't say, but you got to get my flight and my hotel and you got to pay for my Ubers back and forth. No, you just show up and serve. Mm-hmm. So I don't care what level you're at, right? If you'll ask people what they're currently focused on, that they're most excited about, they're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Could be a book promotion. It could be their show. It could be anything. Now, whatever you say you're going to do for them, deliver it. Because the minute you say you can do something, now you've got their attention. They're going to say, they're going to come back and say, well, what's your name and what do you do? Don't go into sales mode.
Oh, God, no.
Just get away from sales mode.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me that question. I say, we help entrepreneurs and small business owners all over the world create even more success. I don't go into anything else. That's it. And that's my one sentence, right? Mm-hmm. But then I'll make sure that if it's serious to the person you've talked to, they're going to say, once again, or you're going to say, and just use this exact language, you know, Andrew, I know you're super busy. What is the best way to connect with you directly? Mm-hmm. And you might say, hit me on Twitter, get to my admin, get to this, right? So you should take that information right now. Say, I talked with so-and-so. I've got a connection on ABC for the radio show. I can get them booked on next Thursday. Let me make the connection right now. Here's that person and that person. Now you guys take it from there. So now I'm out of the loop. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. Mm-hmm. And learn this, that you can never do a good deal with a bad person. Mm-hmm. But if they're a good person, you truly do add real value. Because I know this value thing gets thrown all over the place.
Yeah.
But make sure the value you give them is something that's tangible, something they can relate to, something they can take action on within 48 to 72 hours. Mm-hmm. If it's something 3 years from now, they've tuned out.
Yeah.
But if it's something right now they can tune into and say, I'd love to be on that podcast. I'd love to get on that, make that connection. Then go into your phone and make the connection right now. Because the minute you do that, all of a sudden, it elevates your communication with that person 100 times beyond all the wannabe value adders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it works.
I love anytime. So this is where I think people get confused. That when I go somewhere, I did not know you were going to be speaking at the event,
Right.
but I knew certain people were going to be at the event, and I'm looking for a possible opportunity. What I mean by that is I'm going in there saying, hey, look, I'm going to try to go add value to this person.
Yep.
And their business. And I think I would like to do business with them at some point, but I don't know how it's all going to work.
Right.
And I'm totally fine if it doesn't. And I think it's one point when people say, give value with nothing, wanting nothing in return. There is truth to that, but I'm not necessarily walking into a room of 500 people and just trying to find every person in the room.
God, no.
And give them.
It's the select ones.
I'm going in with a purpose.
Damn right.
Of, hey, this could be an opportunity for me to grow. I don't know. But then to me, it's like I do research.
Long before you get there.
Research. And I go find what they do. Like you said, are they running a charity event? Do they have an event coming up? Are they a public speaker? Okay, do I have stages? I can get them on, whatever it is. I do my research on that person. And then I've used the question that you asked there a lot because it's a great way. And it's also a great icebreaker when you don't know the person and you're just kind of walking up.
Or even if you do know the person, right? And now all of a sudden, because they're excited about that, they're going to talk about it.
And they immediately start talking about it. Depending on where I'm at in the relationship, because then I'm processing.
Right.
Okay, what are you doing?
Let them talk longer.
Yep. And it's the shut up process, right? And it's like at that point, I'm just looking for where is the value.
That's right.
Where is the value?
The real value, like you're talking about.
That I have.
Right.
Like that's my gift. That's my talent that I have. And if this person's doing something, where can I add it into what they're talking about now?
Yeah.
If sometimes if I can't find out the gate, and I was with someone recently, a huge fund manager, and we were at his office. I was talking to him, and man, I couldn't find I just couldn't find where I could add the value in what I had and what he had, and it's rare that I come across it, but I will come across it. And this guy I was like, man, and my second follow-up question is, if I can't find it, normally 90% of the time you can find it.
You'll get something.
But if I can't find it, I'll lean it a little bit deeper and say, hey, listen, on that project you're just talking about on the NFT side, I know you're going down that road and exploring it and going into it. What do you think right now is the biggest hurdle or frustration that you're facing in that industry right now?
Right.
And then I'm actually literally getting to the freaking problem that they're facing.
Exactly right.
And I try to go deeper with them in it. I very rarely have to do that, but if I ever come across someone I can't find it, I will then say, what is that in what you love? What is that pain, frustration that you're going through? That the problem you're facing inside of that industry, that you're exploring, whatever it may be, and then it gives me at least direct answers.
Right.
Like, and when I met with this person, that's when it popped at. He said, I'm looking to hire these two people. I'm looking for this thing. I'm looking for this thing. And I was like, oh shit, hold on. And then it was like, not that I just had a person to hire, it was that there's a much, much bigger picture into it. But I'd have never got there if I wouldn't have known. He was actually looking to hire this person that was a great connection for him without it.
And then sometimes it's just adding little value. So I was in the Bahamas one time. I look over, there's this really tall guy, and sure enough, it was Magic Johnson. Yeah. He's in the cabana next to me. So I sent him some drinks, right, to his family, and this from Mr. Walsh in the cabana, like right next door. I do believe, put yourself in the right place, you're going to meet some of the right people. He comes over personally.
Yeah.
You know, thanks, Mr. Walsh. Thanks for the drinks, and so nice of you. We literally started talking about the things he was working on at that time. He had just gotten $2 billion from BlackRock, and they were doing all these new projects to help minority contractors in larger deals. And we started about giving back and making a difference. And next thing you know, he's inviting me to a family party. You know, and then I said, let's take a couple photos. We took a couple pictures as we're walking down the beach and we're chatting. His wife comes down, right? And sure enough, while she's there, I take a nice picture of them on my phone. So while we're there, this is all going on. I sent the picture right away to my team. I said, get it to one of the butlers or one of our team members at the hotel. Frame it for me while we're here. Get it done.
Yeah.
Within 24 hours, that framed photo of him and his wife on the beach at the Atlantis was shipped right to his room.
Yeah.
And the fact that you'll create a memory like that for someone that you just think in the moment, be present in the moment to, once again, things that will add not only just value, but they appreciate it. People may not remember your name or what you look like, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
How you made them feel.
And that is such a game changer for people.
Yep, I love it, man. I could talk about entrepreneurs and forever because it's who I am and it's who I always will be. Let me ask you the question on the money is side with Bill Walsh. And so we're talking about, obviously, money is blank, meaning what does money mean to Bill? And we started this for entrepreneurs. As a public speaker, it was like everybody wanted money, but when I would press them on it, they wouldn't know really why they wanted it, except for, well, I want to have financial freedom, or I want to pay my bills. And it's like, okay, but dude, entrepreneurship is like getting kicked in the teeth all the time. It's hard enough. If you don't even know why you actually want it, it would give you the reason to quit immediately. And so I started this concept of, why do you really want money? What does money actually mean to you? So I'm going to ask Bill Walsh, CEO and founder of Power Team International, what money means to him. So if you'll take this.
I gotcha.
And I'll give you the Sharpie here.
And you guys can't see this yet, sorry.
Fill this out and then sign below it. And again, you guys make sure, if you want to follow up with Bill, text the word win to the number that he gave you earlier. And of course, you can also hit him on Instagram and Facebook as well. Check out that Rainmaker class, Survive and Thrive.
So you can see it, but they can't.
Yeah. So we're gonna go here first. Oh, I love this answer in it. All right. So Bill Walsh answer is money is energy. Money is energy, and I think this is so true. Like, I could talk about that word and money for so long, but you tell me why you think money is energy.
So when you really think about money, it really has no intrinsic set value, right? And the cool thing about money is that you can crumple it up, you can step on it, you can laugh at it, you can kick it around the room. When you pick it up, it's still what? Still a $100 bill if that's what you threw down there. But when you start to realize, how do you get in the flow of money? Right. The flow of money is built around energy. And if you're putting out the energy that then attracts that money will flow at you like crazy. When we start to work with business owners, the first thing we tell them is, yes, you've got to have your revenue projection for the year. But when you have your revenue projection for the year, flip the script and change everything you've thought about money. Because if you go buy a McDonald's, it does not say we make billions on you. It says billions and billions served. So now you know your number that you want to generate for the year. What does your average client spend with you? And then, of course, how many clients do you have to serve to get to the money number? And if you'll change all of your energy from, I'm going to make this much money, to, I'm going to serve X number of customers, it's a game changer for your business. When we started to realize that we could just serve 24 customers per month, we could hit our annual number in style. Well, 24 customers a month meant that 6 customers a week. We had to do less than 1 customer a day. And now the entire team is focused on not on how much money they're going to make, but all their energy moves towards how many clients can we serve that day, that week, that month, to make sure that the money number shows up. The problem for most people, we have programs we run that says money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, if you live in Colorado for a while, maybe it's weed-like, but it grows on the tree, yes or no, right? The greatest money tree you're born with is right between your ears. So when we start to think money is energy, once again, move your energy to serving clients, not making money. And before you know it, money will flow at you like crazy.
Yeah, it's very, very, very true of money as energy, and there's different angles, and I could go into it, but there's one that I'm going to circle back to and end it on this, is that I teach a class, for you to create money, or for you to have money, understand that the number one rule of money is money movement. Money has to move. And you find anybody that hoards money, you're going to find a broke person. You find anybody that moves money, that you have a VC firm. That is about moving money. It's about moving capital constantly, right? A VC will make no money if all it does is sit on it. It has to get it employed. It has to get it out in the marketplace. And so understanding money movement. And for a lot of people, especially when they're starting off, it's very hard to understand, because it's backwards of everything they've ever been taught their whole life. Which is, hold it and save it and store it away. And it's funny because we talk about energy and movement, meaning movement is energy, right? You're moving it. You got to get the flow of money. And in it, I always think about I used to give an illustration that said, what is another word for the word money? Meaning, where did the word money come from? What's an original word for the word money? And the class would then say it's currency. That's exactly it. So original word, the word money originally came from the word currency. And then later on was birthed, the word from currency was money. So money comes from currency, all right? And so what is the originating word for the word currency? And the word is currents.
Currents.
The word currency comes from the word currents. You were just in San Diego. I have a house in Florida. When that water in the ocean, for there to be a current in that water, the water has to be doing one thing. It has to be moving. If water is not moving, there will be no current in that water, and it will be dead water.
Dead water.
And when you have dead water, dead money, you can literally die from old, dead, stagnant water. Money comes from currency. Currency comes from currents. And for there to be a current, something has to be moving. For you to have money, again, money movement has to be there. You got to get in the flow of that. You have to get in the flow of the energy of money that's moving constantly.
And your own energy.
Yeah, your own.
What you feed, you become. What you focus on is where you're going to go.
When I was an original entrepreneur starting off, I fought that so hard because it was all this like mind thing, like, oh, it's just this. You're trying to talk to me about this mental of I can believe it into existence, and I'm not saying you can literally sit here and do nothing and think of it and then it will appear to you. But what I'm saying is, it cost me God knows how much time and money because I never took the time as a beginning entrepreneur to think through what I actually wanted, and what I needed. Not just like I wanted to be financially free, but it's like I wanted to create a company valued at $1 million. Okay. Well, first of all, just understand, until you start saying that and then telling people and then believing that, you're never going to get to that $1 million.
That's right.
But uniquely enough, you only get to that $1 million. If you just said 10 million, your brain, body, just understand there's no difference between 1 million and 10 million.
Just a zero.
It's just a zero to the body. And but you're creating it and then going and doing it. And part of it is you're believing in yourself. You truly are believing, I'm creating a $10 million company right now. It took me a long time to say.
By the number of clients you serve.
Yeah.
So we tell people that when it comes to the flow of money, do you want to use a fishing line or a net? Your choice.
Yeah.
You know, if you believe that you can only do things one-to-one, that may be where you stay. But really, business today, I believe business is one-to-many.
Yeah.
I believe you still build relationships one-to-one, right? And you get into that flow of the energy of showing up. You get in the flow of energy of realizing that customers are everything for the business. You know, if people would put a sign at their house or their business that just says, customers are good for business.
Yeah.
What a concept that would be.
Yeah.
Right? And even the way, if you look at some of the hotels in Vegas, when Steve Wynn would build a hotel, you know, he would build the rooms first. He wanted to feel the energy of that room because, once again, those rooms brought in what?
The people.
They brought in the people and brought in the money.
Yeah.
But it was the experience that he created. The back of the hotel was as nice as the front of the hotel. They made sure the staff felt like every person owned a piece of that business. And that's how they were treated. And it all goes back to that, you know, money is without a doubt energy, and it's how you treat it, how you view it, and how you live into it.
Steve Wynn, that is a great entrepreneur, man. That is one of a kind entrepreneur. If you guys watch this show again, make sure you follow Bill Walsh here. He is CEO and founder of Power Team International, and make sure you text that code as well. Win, the word win, to his code, and you get a free copy of his book, It's Obvious, which it always is to an entrepreneur. We just don't always do that. I hope you guys enjoy this episode of The Money Is Show, and we'll see you next time on The Money Is Show.
Thank you.